Welcome everyone to Tuesday morning. It's now 8:30. A blockade at a busy southern Alberta border crossing is now entering its fourth day. Protesters have barricaded the Coots border crossing connecting Alberta and Montana since Saturday.
The protesters are angry about vaccine mandates and other COVID-19 measures, but the RCMP have said that this is an illegal protest and traffic needs to begin moving through the border again soon. Heather Yorks-West is in Coots, Alberta, and she joins us now live with more.
Here's the thing, you guys had no problem with them destroying statues and burning shit and smashing out business windows through the whole defund the police and the BLM movements. All the Canadian statues tore down, all the Lawtons burnt out and windows smashed and those. You guys had no problems with those protests. You got a problem with this one. This one's in the middle of wintertime too. You guys had no problem with them destroying the cities in the summer. People are out in the freezing fucking cold and you guys got a problem with this. Because they're actually fighting for people with health problems.
So good morning, Heather. Take us through with the situation there right now.
Yeah, the situation is very much the same as we left it yesterday. Fewer trucks here than we saw at the height of the protest over the weekend, but protesters remain on site, resolved in continuing this blockade now in its fourth day. The RCMP, however, have said that they need to get traffic flowing through the border again. Yesterday, the focus was on peaceful negotiations with protest organizers. Here's a little of what Corporal Curtis Peters with the Alberta RCMP had to.
Another thing too, you had Antifa and BLM blocking the roads off last summer. People couldn't even get to fucking work. You couldn't get across the bridge here in Dartmouth because they had that blocked off. You guys have no problems with these terrorist organization groups that destroy private and public property. You guys have a problem with these people being peaceful though.
Had to say the last time we did an update yesterday afternoon.
We've been in communications both via the media and in one-on-one conversations with those involved. We've made it clear that this is no longer lawful and that we will move towards returning it to a lawful protest up to and including enforcement action.
Now, late last night, Alberta RCMP.
Every cop that has enforced tickets on people for breaking COVID lockdowns to go get groceries or working out in a park, walking their dog, if they were handed out tickets, you're an oathbreaker. You're Justin Trudeau's Gestapo. You're just doing whatever he says. Now, this is lawful. You guys are breaking the laws.
The MP issued a couple of tweets indicating that negotiations had not gone well. They tweeted that they had hoped to find a path forward, but that protesters were refusing to comply. So where does that leave us today? Well, we know that RCMP have called this an illegal protest and that they do have some new tools at their disposal. Alberta's Critical Infrastructure Defence Act allows them to levy some pretty harsh fines against anyone found guilty of blocking infrastructure like a border crossing. A $25,000 fine as part of that act, as well as a 6-month jail sentence.
And they'll just change the laws as they go too. Here in Nova Scotia, you couldn't go down and show support on the bridge or on the side of a road, or you'd be handed a ticket. We were going down to show support, got stopped by a cop, got turned around. We asked when did the law go in place, he said the night before. So they're just making shit up as they go. And Justin Trudeau, how is he a leader if he says he's not scared of the truckers, but then he runs to Vancouver because he says he's got COVID-19? If any of us had COVID, we're not even allowed around our families, let alone being able to get our families together, go on a road trip to Vancouver and go to a cottage or something.
So really today we are going to be just watching and waiting to see what happens next. It is a bit of a standoff, but as I said, RCMP say that their goal now is to get traffic flowing through this border crossing again.
So Heather, I understand there were some tense moments there yesterday. Can you talk a little bit about what happened?
Yeah, Erin, I can tell you that when we arrived yesterday, there was some very emotional exchanges. There were a number of truckers in the protest that were actually not.
Because you had Justin Trudeau who tried to call them all racist and Nazis. And there's a huge group of Middle Eastern truck drivers out in Alberta. How is everybody a racist and a Nazi? It just makes no sense. They don't agree with him, and his ego got hurt. So he's going to go hide now.
Not part of the protest, that they had just been caught here, that they were trying to cross the border and complete their delivery. So when we arrived yesterday, there were some tempers flaring. These truckers had been here for 3 days with their freight, unable to cross the border, but also unable to even get out of the lineup and return home. So after some negotiations with RCMP, protesters moved some trucks and a lot of...
The trucks weren't stopping, the truck stops where you had to go in and like weigh. It was the cops who shut those down. So if you're going to blame somebody for the weigh stations, you can blame the RCMP for that.
Those truckers, all of the truckers that were part of the protest were able to take a back road back home, many of them to Calgary, but they weren't able to cross the border. And we also know that there are a number of truckers, Canadian truckers that are trapped on the Montana side that would also like to go home, that have been there since the start of this protest and are hoping for a resolution as well.
Very interesting. Heather, thank you so much.
Thank you, Heather.